It was the biggest argument that we ever got in. And he was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me beforehand.
Hello, how you guys doing? What's going on? Have you guys heard what's going on right now? Just came out, exclusive. Shannon Sharpe ex-girlfriend Michelle is speaking out, and she is saying that he R-word her and how he is just a manipulator, a liar, and a cheater. You guys have to watch this video in its entirety. Now, some people are believing her and some people are not buying it from her. And I want to know, what do you guys think about this? Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Gigi with the T. Some people out here is calling me messy, but I ain't nothing but sweet. Damn near delicious if you're asking me. All right, so I want us to watch this entirety, and I want to know your comments. Why am I coughing? I want to know your comments. Check this out.
It was the biggest argument that we ever got in. And he was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me beforehand. In actually the press room at the Broncos, April of 2002. And but we didn't start talking until we met up at a club at Blue 67 in Denver. I don't know if anyone is listening from Denver, but yeah, we were at a club at the same time. We didn't go together. We just happened to both be there. And so he started talking to me, and he started pursuing me pretty heavily from then on. I resisted for a while because, I was a reporter, and I didn't want to mix the two. But he's very charming. Until the 2010 incident. And then it came to abrupt end because I wanted, we were arguing and he was me and stuff like that after, but I didn't see him again after me.
What led up to that fight, that 2010 fight that you guys, I know that the argument ensued first before he allegedly you?
The argument was about the fact that he had removed one girl from his house and put another girl in his house and didn't tell me. And he had asked me to break up with my husband at the time. We were just dating, so I was dating Shannon and my husband at the same time. Shannon asked me to break up with my husband, and I don't recall for sure, but I think I did. And so, it's like, wait a minute, you want me to be with just you, but you want to move somebody into your house and not even tell me? So that's what it stemmed from. He's not a faithful person, so I wasn't going to be faithful to a non-faithful person. It just doesn't work that way, not for me anyway.
Can you tell us just broadly, I know it's probably painful to relive this situation, but can you tell us generally what happened that day?
It was fighting, and usually we fought on the phone and not in person. So it was the biggest argument that we ever got in. And he was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me beforehand, and he wanted to have sex, and I told him no. I told him no, because you gave it to somebody else. I didn't only tell him no, I told him why. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. So he overpowered me, put me to my knees, put his penis in my mouth. And after he got enough of that, he put me on the bed. And, this was all a struggle. So I had said no, and I said no, even though I was thinking that. And so it was the hardest Yeah, this is too hard. I remember he got dressed and he knew what he did. And so, you know, I just kind of escorted him out the door. And then I wasn't going to do anything about it. You know, sometimes when you're with the person for a long time, it's hard for you to realize that they're being the perpetrator, even though you know it, you don't want to admit it, and there's so much going through your mind. But then he started coming at me. If I tell anybody, you know, he'll use everybody he knows to destroy me, which he basically has. And then he started making other threats against my life, threats, you know. He just was so worried that it would get out, and I wasn't going to do anything. But when he kept calling me at work, and when he kept, you know, just very aggressively behaving, and I could see it wasn't going to go away, and he said he was going to destroy me and he was going to kill me, and he told me he was watching me and all that, I just went and got a protective order. I'd had enough. And unfortunately, shortly after, he doxed me and my address got out, and I had somebody stop by my apartment, which had a door that led right to the side. It was basically on the sidewalk. And somebody came up to my door and said, "Shut up," screamed it at the top of their lungs. And I had my daughter in there right there. And I was like, oh no. And so I went in and I dropped it, because also at my house, not my apartment, my house, at my house, somebody came to my house and sat out front in the driveway while my daughter was there alone. Someone came to my house, someone came to my apartment, and after my daughter called me, that's when I went straight there.
So after you rescinded the restraining order, was there any other weird stuff, or did it kind of just die down?
It died down. I tried to move on with my life. We may have talked, I think, once or twice. But then he started going on television. He came to my job, Turner Broadcasting, went on TV at CNN, and it was my job to put the videos from up to YouTube for CNN. That was part of my job. So I'm putting up this video, and here I see Shannon at my job talking about domestic violence, and the co-host mentioned that, oh, you had one that was just totally dropped, made it look like the police dropped it, you know, not that I had gone down and withdrawn it. It created a picture that wasn't accurate. And that was a very hostile work environment.
I'm gonna ask something that might be a little sensitive or might sound insensitive, I should say. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask it because it's a question that I'm sure people are wondering. Why didn't you file a police report when he did?
Because I was scared for my life. He said he would use it, everybody he knows, and he knows lots of police officers. So I didn't know that if I went down there, that would be one of the people that he knows. You know, Atlanta has a problem with corruption down there. And I was too scared to go to the police. Because when this happens, you're in a trauma mindset. You're not in a, you know, every day you and I are talking here like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should do that. No, you're like fear for your life. You're traumatized. You're not thinking straight. You're having anxiety and panic attacks. And I was worried that he would, you know, get a hold of this police officer, and who knows what would happen. And so it was just a decision, and it's a decision a lot of victims make, to not go to the police. They always say the woman is crazy. You know, hey, I might be at this point after everything I've dealt with. But back then, no. Definitely not crazy. And to see him paint me the way that he did, first off, I'm not somebody crawling out of the woodwork to talk about my connection with him like he insinuated in his statement. I've been out. I've been suing him.
What's your message to his latest accuser, who's been doxing? What would you say to her if you can send a message to her?
I pray for you. I have been there. I've been dealing with this for 15 years, so I know what you're going